It is Social Saturday, March 8th, 2025, 2:05 a.m. And I just start with Tin Roof Rusted. Um, One of my favorite songs, Love Shack, B-52s. It's raining in Ty, Texas. Um, just a pitter patter. And, uh, you know, over my left foot. my The circumstances uh, of my left big toe healing, I've chosen to stay home, and uh, it's kind of hard to describe this feeling right now. And so I pick up a book called The Gift of Community: Reflections on the Way We Live and Work Together by Gary D. McCaleb, who was a mayor in the 90s in Abilene when I was away um, from my hometown, or my perception of a hometown. It's where I came in as a fourth grader and I graduated as a senior from Cooper High, and I left actually in the middle of the night. I was pregnant with my unborn son. I was June 1st, 1988. I became married, and at 18, I did not know where I would end up. I eventually ended up, after giving birth to my son, in Galveston, living in the Houston area. If you would have told me I would end up in Houston, I was like, and not even Houston, really, in the outskirts, a little town. I was living in an efficiency apartment with my husband in Lamarck, Texas. And then right next to Lamarck was Texas City. I was away from home and I was homesick. And I had a baby boy with a man I really didn't know. I thought I knew him. He was the love of my life. Uh, but you wake up, right? And so I was away from Abilene, and this is just a book that was written by a mayor while I was away. Talking about restaurant empires, how it all starts, and why is that on my mind at this moment? Um, there's just this one little location. It used to be called the Hot Dog Castle when I was growing up, And there's just this one building, many restaurants, but never successful. Um, so for 36 years, there there was only one Lowry's the prime rib. Then in 1974, after much debate, Lawrence Frank's son, Richard N. Frank, persuaded his father that the same distinctive character and quality could be duplicated in Chicago. The chosen location was appropriately unique and distinctive. The 19th century mansion at the corner of Rush and Ontario Streets was the former residence of L. Hamilton McCormick, inventor, writer, art collector, and nephew of Cyrus Hall McCormick of reaping machine fame. Good food and a pleasant atmosphere are essential ingredients in a recipe for success in the restaurant industry, but Lowry's The Prime Rib has included another less visible ingredient that permeates the entire organization, much like the effect of its seasoning salt on fine beef. Just inside the entry of this impressive Chicago restaurant hangs an unpretentious plaque that yields insight into the secrets of long term success. The plaque reads as follows: Lowry's Code of Ethics. In the conduct of our business, we are and will continue to be guided by the following principles and ethics. We will be fair and truthful in our relations with our shareholders, our customers, our coworkers, our suppliers, and with the public at large. We will be forthright and honest in all our dealings and relationships. We will be enlightened, aware of, and responsive to the changing world in which we reside. We will be responsible and exemplary citizens and constructive members of the various communities of which we are a part. We will constantly strive to improve upon all that we do. We will conduct our business in a manner which will enable us to take pride in our efforts and in the products and services which we provide. We will act in a manner which will earn the respect and esteem of all concerned. We regard as imperative the financial success, stability, and growth of our business in consonance with these principles. Hanging a code of ethics on the wall does not make the difference. The challenge is to take those principles off the plaque and bring them to life in the people of the organization. In our skeptical society, it's easy to pass by an engraved plaque and remain unaffected. We are much more impressed by people than plaques. The code of ethics at Lowry's The Prime Rib came to life in a memorable way in the person of a coworker named Janice. At Lowry's, there are no employees. Everyone's a coworker. When I asked Janice if she had enjoyed the 6 years of working at Lowry's, she responded with an enthusiastic yes. Then I asked her, why? She quickly replied, because they treat you with respect. It's probably not a coincidence that her words and the seventh statement in Lowry's Code of Ethics seem strikingly similar. There's something remarkable about there is something remarkable about those 7 we statements of Lowry's. They seem to create a feeling of collective commitment that provides an insight into the essence of community, and they have a familiar ring with another set of we statements made by the people of an entire city. We will never bring disgrace to this our city by any act of dishonesty or cowardice, nor ever desert our suffering comrades in the ranks. We will fight for the ideal and sacred things of the city, both alone and with many. We will revere and obey the city's laws and do our best to incite a like respect in those above us who are prone to annul or set them at naught. We will strive unceasingly to quicken the public sense of civic duty. Thus, in all these ways, we will transmit the city greater and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. It was called the Athenian Oath. In 4th century BC, the young men of Athens took the oath when they reached the age of 17. There, in a certain golden, ageless quality about coming together to fight for the ideal. And, wow, respect. And that's what was, yeah, yeah, several, several days early in a conversation coming out of a sleep. And, you know, just in conversation, I was like, man, I've just come to the point where I'm all about Aretha Franklin. Respect. It's hard to spell really fast, right? Like Aretha does. Um, yeah, um, you just get to that point. Um, um, why I leave a community is for that. When people are talking about respect and at the same time they're not giving it, I mean, what can you do, right? It's mm, principles aren't practiced, and so all I can do is stay home until I can think about how I personally violated some code of ethics, right? I mean, um, you know, I do my things in Abilene, yet I sleep in Thai, and in order to stay in Thai, um, there's codes of ethics, and believe me, I don't know if there's a plaque hanging in some restaurant. Um, mhm. um, but I do know um, Thai had a truck stop, and I also know that my dad has slung hash in that truck stop, and it's not a local truck stop anymore. It was bought out by a corporate entity. And does that make a difference? Yeah. Hell yeah, it makes a difference. You know, a little rinky dink truck stop had a feel, had a community, and but it's not there anymore, right? And but haha, it is there. It's in the people, and so of this little town, right? That I've been been here for 12 years. Um, at first, I sometimes I think about it, by accident, right? you know, I had a husband that was looking for a house or trailer house to buy, and he chose this one, and it's not the home that it once was. Um, Now it's collects a lot of history. Um, so I don't know. I just know for me, it's my sanctuary. For others, it was at a time, and now it's just me because that's what I choose. Um, but it's my home base, um, and that's what I'm speaking of on home bases, where we feel safe when our cities aren't safe. You know why it's so important for our homes to be safe. Um, so I think of one woman, a woman that I started knowing, and she did not feel safe. She tried to communicate it, but I couldn't. I could not enter her home because I didn't feel safe entering her home. And that, my choice more than anything. Because you can, once you enter somebody's home, you can't control how that home is going to affect you. And so I remember trying to help one person out before, um, and it seemed like, a beautiful home, right? Looks can be deceiving. Everything can be perfect. All the plaques on the wall. But it's all dependent on that person, right? So, I don't know. I was just thinking, coming out of a sleep, listening to audio in the background about someone talking about the void. And I was like, oh yeah. But, and an argument for the nature of God. What can a void do? A void can do a lot. Again, it can bring in goodness or it can bring in something else, right? But these days, I'm really trying to stay out of duality between good and evil, which It's a challenge, because I've always been raised that there was good and evil. And I think about a movie, end with this midnight in the garden of good and evil, right? We put, we as society put so much on decadence, but we forget the underbelly, right? Whew. So much literature. So I'm just enjoying. I am really enjoying. I'm enjoying my sleep. Catching up on a lot of sleep that I do love Lent. I love the practice of Lent. I love the concept of being in the desert. I love being in the desert. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Mm. Man cannot live by bread alone. Peace out.